The school's CCTV footage went viral overnight. A teacher dragged by her hair while students laughed. But what the world didn't know was who she really was, and what she did next would silence the bullies forever. It was the first day of the new academic term at Ridgeway High, a school known for its high test scores, shiny hallways, and a deep-rooted problem nobody wanted to talk about: bullying. Not just the usual pranks or locker shoves. This was different. It was targeted, systemic, hidden behind smiles and PTA awards. The students were buzzing about the new teacher that morning. Rumors were already circulating before she even stepped into the building. "I heard she's from some rural school. Probably doesn't even know how to use a smartboard," one girl whispered, flipping her hair arrogantly. "I bet she wears the same dress every day," laughed another. The ringleader, Zane. Tall, athletic, and worshipped by teachers who never noticed what he did to others when the cameras weren't looking. When Miss Adira Khan finally walked through the school gates, she carried a simple tote bag, wore plain black flats, and had her hair in a low, neat bun. She didn't look rich. She didn't look tough. She looked kind. Too kind for Ridgeway. Some students gave her a once-over and rolled their eyes. Others snickered. But Adira, calm and composed, walked in with quiet confidence, nodding politely to everyone she passed. What they didn't know, what nobody knew, was that Miss Khan wasn't here just to teach. She had a reason, a purpose, and it was more personal than anyone could imagine. Her first class was a disaster. While she tried to explain the lesson, a paper ball hit her on the back. Then another. Laughter followed. Someone played a fart noise on their phone. She asked for quiet. They ignored her. She paused, took a breath, and tried again. But the bullies had already smelled blood. Later that week, someone drew rude graffiti on the whiteboard before she entered. Another day, they poured glue on her chair. One morning, someone left a fake resignation letter on her desk, telling her to go back to where you came from. And then came the incident that shattered everything. The footage came from the hallway outside the science lab. Miss Khan had stayed late correcting notebooks. As she turned the corner, a group of seniors, Zane, Marcus, and Kendra, surrounded her. It was meant to be a joke, they'd later claim, just a prank. But in the moment, it was horrifying. Kendra reached out and yanked Miss Khan's hair from behind, pulling her to the floor. The others laughed. One filmed it. She tried to get up, stunned and shaken, but they blocked her path. She didn't scream. She didn't hit back. She just looked at them. Not with fear, not with anger, but with heartbreak. Like she'd seen this before, like it wasn't the first time. The next day, the video was everywhere. Parents, students, the school board, the news. Everyone expected her to resign. But she didn't. She showed up the next morning just like always, same calm, same kind eyes. And that's when everything started to change. The school had called a staff meeting. Cameras were already set up outside the gates. News vans lined the street. It wasn't just about the video anymore. People were asking who Miss Khan was, why she hadn't quit, and why she hadn't pressed charges. The students whispered. Even the bullies looked uneasy. Something about her quiet return shook them. She should have been humiliated, broken, angry. But instead, she stood in front of the entire school that morning and asked for 10 minutes. Principal Watkins hesitated. But the pressure was mounting, and the media was watching. So he agreed. She walked up to the auditorium stage without notes, without security, without anything. Just her. "I know many of you saw the video," she began, "and many of you expected I wouldn't return. But what you don't know is why I became a teacher." She took a breath and then shared a story no one expected. "When I was 14, my father passed away. He was a janitor at a private school, a man mocked every day by the same students he cleaned up after. One night, he came home with bruises, but he told me he slipped. I knew he hadn't. I knew someone had hurt him. But he kept going to work every day, without anger, without revenge, because he believed that kindness can outlast cruelty. That broken systems can be rebuilt from the inside." The auditorium fell into silence. "I became a teacher," she continued, her voice steady, "not because I had to, but because I wanted to be the person I needed when I was your age. I know what bullying feels like. I know what it's like to be dragged down, literally. And I also know that one act of courage can stop generations of pain." Tears welled up in the eyes of students who had once laughed. Even Kendra's face dropped in shame, and then, without raising her voice, Miss Khan said, "I forgive you." The room was still. No press conference could have matched what happened next. Students began standing, one by one, first the quiet ones, then the athletes, even some of the bullies. Apologies poured in, some hugged her, others just said thank you. But the biggest surprise came a week later. Ridgeway High announced the creation of the Adira Initiative, a school-wide program for anti-bullying education, peer mentoring, and mental health support, led by none other than Miss Khan. And guess who volunteered first? Zain. In a heartfelt moment during the first meeting, he said quietly, "You taught me what strength really looks like. And I'm sorry." Miss Khan smiled and said, "It's never too late to change." In the months that followed, Ridgeway transformed. Hallways became safer, teachers became more empathetic, and students, especially those who had once felt invisible, finally had someone who saw them. Miss Khan's story was shared across the country. She was invited to speak at schools, panels, even international conferences. But she never left Ridgeway. She said it was home now, that the kids there still needed her. And perhaps the most powerful moment came on Teacher's Day, when the same students who once dragged her by her hair stood in front of her with handmade cards and a bouquet of sunflowers, her father's favorite flower. Sometimes the strongest people aren't the loudest or the ones who fight back with fists. Sometimes they're the ones who stay kind in the face of cruelty, who turn pain into purpose. Miss Khan didn't just change a school, she changed lives, and she proved once and for all that kindness is power.